Welcome to the Tangent Podcast. I'm Vinny Politan. Great to have you aboard. We are getting into MadelineSoto, Jen Soto, the interview, and then the big news coming out of Orlando, which is Jen Soto will not be charged, will not be arrested, because at this point she has committed no crimes. Plus, we've got breaking news in the KarenRead case that is continuing. I'm Vinny Politan. Oh, I've got to rearrange them. There we go. With Al Lunch and Jonesy. This is the Tangent Podcast.
Vinny and the Tangents, True Crime Podcast. Vinny has the blue eyes, Al cracks the jokes. Jonesy stays behind his shades, entertaining all the folks. It's Vinny and the Tangents, True Crime Podcast. Load up all your comments, hit those super chats. Let's go smash that like button, so we can all have a blast. Vinny, Al, and Jonesy on the job. They're the Sugar Hill Gang of true crime. They're telling stories of days gone by. They take crime and turn into a good old time. It's Vinny, it's Vinny and the Tangents, True Crime Podcast.
All right, great to have you aboard. Al, one
Yes.
to the third, say hello.
Greetings, salutations to you all on this beautiful Friday, August 23rd. Very, very nice to have you all, as usual.
Jonesy.
How are you? Hey,
All right.
Al, I hope that they weren't your $10,000 pens that you were using as drumsticks.
No, they were not.
They are expensive, those pens. So we've got some really big stuff to get to here. We're going to play some of Jen Soto's interview because I want Al and Jonesy and everyone to be talking about what we're hearing. We know the headline, no plans to charge Jen Soto for anything. Does that make sense? But I just want to start with KarenRead. I want to give you the breaking news because it's just happening. If that's okay, Al.
That's fine. We can. I have some. I have a true crime this day in history. But
okay.
Let's do KarenRead first.
Okay, I'll give you the headline here. The headline is, I'll read the conclusion. This court recognizes that the bar on retrials following acquittals is perhaps the most fundamental rule in the history of double jeopardy jurisprudence. However, there's the however, where there was no acquittal on any of the charges in the defendant's first trial, there is no risk of subjecting the defendant to double jeopardy by retrial on all the charges. Therefore, the defendant's motion to dismiss is denied. And this was all based upon the information that came forward from some of the jurors saying that they had actually reached unanimity. Is that a word? Al, is that a word?
Unanimity.
Unanimity.
I think that's a thing that's in the sea that clownfish can swim through. Oh, that's
Clownfish.
unanimity. Right.
That is the best tangent ever. Clownfish.
So
It's the truth.
So I've had a problem with this from the beginning because the law is the law. The judge may very well be getting the law correct. I think there's room for a little interpretation here. But I don't like when the law has blinders on. Like, we don't want to know that the jury did not understand the judge's instructions and did not communicate that. We don't care that they did reach a unanimous verdict on counts 1 and 3. We don't care because they didn't fill out the paperwork correctly. I am flabbergasted by our system of justice right here, that there's no curiosity and no ability to bring the jurors in. Let me read that part of it, and then I'll let Al yell at me. Okay? So, because that's the way it's going to go. We know the way it's going to go today.
Well, what's to yell about? He was right.
Okay. The defendant alternatively requests that the court allow counsel to conduct a post-trial inquiry of the jurors to substantiate the existence of acquittal. Okay? The defendant's argument relies on Commonwealth versus McCallop, 485 Mass 790, 2020. McCallop was a case where the court allowed inquiry into the jury afterwards because there were allegations that one of the jurors was making racist statements. And the ruling was that racial bias in the jury system is a familiar recurring event that, if left unaddressed, would risk systematic injury to the administration of justice. Well, by the same token, doesn't not recognizing a jury, not understanding the instructions and actually reaching a verdict, doesn't that lead to some sort of a injury to the administration of justice, in that KarenRead now has to prove counts 1 and 3 to a second jury? I mean, to me, I think that was a strong argument by the defense, but they get into a lot of the precedent in this case. So here's what the judge said. The judge said the defendant's request effectively seeks permission from the court to inquire from deliberating jurors that which is impermissible, very dramatic, information regarding the substance of the jury's deliberations. How is that different than racist statements? You tell me. The secrecy of jury deliberations has served as a bedrock of our judicial system and inquiry into the jury's deliberative process. Hey, maybe we don't have to go there. Maybe we just have to go, hey, did you guys understand that you could have filled out 1 and 3 and not reached a unanimous verdict on 2, and that would have been okay? Okay. Al, time to yell.
Thank you. As I have pointed out before, and the great saint, sage, and lawyer Thomas More once said, I would uphold the law if for no other reason to protect myself. Okay, that's why we have these rules. That's why we have these laws. Okay, we do not.
We have the Constitution.
We do not make accommodations. Okay, because what happens in one then has to happen in the other. And if we start saying, well, you know what, that rule is not fine. It doesn't. We don't need to do it 100%.
But they made an exception for a racist remark allegedly
Different
made by a
scenario.
juror.
Different scenario.
How's a racist remark different than 12 people saying not guilty?
There's no one alleging that there was somebody that was causing a problem in the jury room. No one is alleging that. Okay. And the fact that they didn't understand the jury instructions, I find that hard to believe, Vinny. And you, of all people, should know that. You sit through how many trials in court TV in a week?
More than anyone. More than anyone.
And every time, I have never heard a jury come back and say, I don't understand it. What does the word "the" mean? Okay, we're guilty or not guilty? That is the question. Nobody does.
So why should a criminal defendant pay the price for the lack of intelligence, if that's where you want to go with it?
The defendant had a lawyer, okay, a very schooled, very learned attorney, okay, and that individual did not ask for a poll at the end of the trial. That was the problem, okay? That's the problem. If you take a look at the criminal procedure rules, the judge has the discretion, but I can tell you this, that I've never seen a judge not do it if somebody asks for it. All right, and I think that the defense counsel did not want to know the answer.
Let's let Jonesy break the tie here, Jonesy, because you are every man.
In a perfect world, I would have thought it would be cool if, even if the judge didn't go for it, if the prosecutor said that in lieu of the information, investigated a little further to confirm it, in lieu of the information, we are not going to seek these charges in the interest of justice. But that's not going to happen. You know, I mean, part of this is politics, no? When it comes to prosecuting, I mean, you say it's the search for truth, but is it always, or is it a victory score?
All right.
No, it's not a victory. You know what? That any prosecutor that walks in and tells you that these are my numbers, okay, is not a true prosecutor. And
There are some
that's
very famous commentators on Court TV who used to love to tell everybody what their numbers were and how they never lost a trial and all that kind of
we
stuff.
we got a guy on Monday night that does that all the time.
Well,
Although
there
I
was
can't figure out
Jerry
how.
Spence. Jerry Spence, right? Very flamboyant dresser. Didn't he claim to never have lost?
Well, he's just got a streak going. Oh, Jerry Spence never lost. Well, the criminal defense
Except
lawyers
on appeal.
look at victories different ways.
But that's just it. What do you constitute as a loss? If the jury comes in and says manslaughter as opposed to murder one, is that a victory? Technically, yes.
I would say for a criminal defense attorney, if at the end of the trial your client leaves the courtroom in handcuffs, that's not a win.
Isn't there a very famous host who says that she never lost a case when she was a prosecutor?
Who's that?
Want me to say? Nancy.
Yeah, was it Ricky? Oh, Nancy. She may not have. She may not have.
To say that.
I think she lost one on appeal. I think there was one, but that's not a loss. There's just a new trial. That's all.
Nancy
may not have.
The jury didn't want to deal with her and just said, "Look, whatever we got to do to get the hell out of here."
No. As a prosecutor, and especially once you become a senior prosecutor, you can pick and choose the cases that you want to try. If you have a file, and this is as a prosecutor, when I was in the office, if there was a file that was real stinky, one of two things would happen with it. If you were a senior prosecutor, either you give it to a younger prosecutor, let them try it, or you give a sweetheart deal. And then, or in the alternative, you get permission from the boss of bosses to dismiss the case. So I can see someone going undefeated as a prosecutor. I can't see someone going undefeated as a criminal defense attorney. That's hard. That's hard. But I think this is I think this decision and the way this has gone down, and if she ends up getting convicted on counts 1 and 3, especially count 1, which is the most important one, I think this is really a scar on our system of justice. I really do. I'm not happy with it.
Well,
it's certainly going to feed the fuel for the fire, right? With the protesters and the division and people spectating and making a lot of noise. I mean, they've been saying conspiracy all along. Now they've got like just another little thing to right or wrong to say, like, see, we told you so.
Okay, Jenny Lang. Switching topics here. Vinny, I've come across some evidence regarding Madeline's case. I've tried diligently to report this to all Florida agencies involved, but can't get a return call about said evidence. I even called Albert's office because I trust this channel. No return call. Help, please. Al, did you not return Jenny's call?
Well, I was away for a period.
Wait, I know her number. 8675309.
Wait a minute, let me write that down. Hold on. I've got an idea for a song. Well,
that'll never work.
Jenny, this is what you do. Reach out to our mods. Reach out to the mod squad. They can get all the information to us. Really important. Let's first of all acknowledge the amazing mod squad.
Yes.
We have Gen X to the 7th power. We've got Frankie Figs, Jennifer Soubey, and the legendary Melly as well. So all in effect. Reach out. They'll probably be reaching out to you right now. Jenny, you've got information regarding that case. That would be pretty important. I don't know if you live in the neighborhood or whatever, but get the information to our mod squad. They can transfer the information to us, and we can take it from there. But Jenny Lang, thank you so much. Jenny, there's a lot of people working because Central Florida is sort of a hotbed of true crime. There have been huge cases down there, obviously. Some I don't like to talk about. But there's an incredible community down there that gets involved in a lot of these stories and cases and take it very personally. And my guess is Jenny must be down there in Central Florida. So thank you, Jenny. So Al, you wanted to give us some huge information here.
Well, I wanted to discuss it. August 23rd. Okay, a case that, Vinny, I don't think you handled originally, but you may have handled the appeal.
Not Fatty Arbuckle, right?
No. August 23rd, 1305, the
1305,
1305,
like
yes,
5 minutes after 1 p.m.
no, 1305 as in the year 1305. Okay, it was the trial and execution of William Wallace.
William
Who's that?
Wallace.
William Wallace. Didn't anyone see Braveheart?
No.
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 Okay, William Wallace
You like
was
gladiator movies?
William Wallace. Okay, was the one of the big stories of Scottish history. Okay, he refused to obey the rule of the king, King Edward I. He was subsequently captured. He was tried in one day. He was sentenced to death for treason. Okay, and the sentence was this, Ben, and again, Jonesy, you're gonna love this one. He was hanged to the point where he was almost dead. Then they took him off the scaffold. He was then eviscerated, emasculated, with his bowels burned in front of him. He was beheaded and then cut in 4 parts. And parts of his body were sent to Newcastle, Berwick, Perth, and Stirling. His head was dipped in tar and placed on a spike on London Bridge.
Wow.
And that was the sentence that he went through.
I don't send a message to others. Hey, when you cut a body into 4 parts, which part is the best eaten?
Is the what? I'm sorry.
Best eaten. Best food.
I don't
What
know.
would be the best meat? You know.
Well, I would assume the tenderloin, but
Did he appeal his conviction?
he did appeal his conviction by stating, "Wait a minute, I never swore allegiance to the King of England. How then you holding me guilty of treason?" And that didn't hold any water, and he was subsequently executed. Now this
argument doesn't hold any water.
Doesn't anyhow. That's exactly how they said it. And I would encourage people to see the movie Braveheart, Mel Gibson's film. Okay,
very intense. Yes,
and the movie is completely historically inaccurate. I mean, to the point where it's almost ridiculous. But the battle scenes are phenomenal. Okay, so
does the story continue to the actual execution, to this whole?
Except that the thing is this, that they show him being executed. They do not go into the details of his execution. They do show him being basically like laid out and ready to be torn apart by horses.
Oh.
And he screams out the word freedom. Okay, but I have it on good sources here that his last words were, I
thought it was "Let's roll."
Cut that off, and that was it. Was his last...
I think it speaks volumes that when you just before you described how he was executed, you said, "Jonesy, you're going to love this."
Yeah.
But
by the way, Grizzly True Crime is in the chat today. A big hello. On my show last night, did an amazing job breaking down the MadelineSoto, Jen Soto evidence and stuff. So nice to see GTC in the house. Of course, bringing all the Grizzlies with her. She did an amazing job last night on Court TV. So
hello, Grizzly.
Do you want to hear a little bit of Jen Soto's interview?
Yes,
let's play a little bit of it.
This is blowing my mind. How at the very least, she is not being looked at for. We're going back to the lowdown mix. At the very least, that she's not looking at some charges for allowing her daughter to sleep in the bed with a guy that she knew or should have known was a sex offender.
Well, I don't think she knew. I mean, if she knew, would she have done it? Well, maybe she did know. But can they prove it?
Come on.
It's about evidence. I think it's about evidence. Let's start listening, and we'll do a little start and stop, and I'll scroll through some of the parts. Let's take a listen.
-011313.
Can I just start? The guy has a good voice for radio, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does.
Can you state your full name?
Jennifer Soto.
All right, Jennifer. So I'm here to talk to you today. We're going to talk about, and you're familiar with kind of why we're talking.
Now, every time you hear that mute, that would be Madeline's name. They're muting out the names of people, especially Madeline, because at this point, she's a missing child, not the victim of a horrific. We know
Right now, right?
Yes.
Okay. Can you tell me when is the last time you were with someone?
Saw her, I'm going to say Sunday night.
Okay.
I heard her Monday getting ready for school.
So you last saw her Sunday night about what time?
I would say 11 p.m. before she went to bed.
And you were here at home? Gotcha. And where did she go to bed? Was she in her room, your room, or something else?
She actually slept upstairs with...
they muted Stephen Stern's name.
we have a guest bedroom. We were all going to sleep together in the same bed, but I needed some good sleep. And I got a new job recently. I haven't been well rested. I needed some sleep. So I asked, hey, can you guys go to the guest bedroom upstairs? I knew he was going to get her ready. And
hey, can you two go get a room? Like, this is insane. This is insanity.
So this I believe was what, either February 27th or 28th.
The 27th.
Is when
the 27th is the interview. Yeah, the 27th is the interview.
Right. Okay, so it's 27th. Her kid's missing, right? There is not any panic in her voice whatsoever.
No.
There's not any like, oh, I can't even think about this. Like, where is she? She's never done this before. I mean, this. There is nothing in her voice showing emotion. She's 11. We were gonna go sleep. We were all gonna sleep together in the bed, but I needed better sleep, so I sent the two of them to the bed. I mean, how they're not getting her for child endangerment is insane. Just this interview alone, I would be like, I can't even. I've seen mothers who've lost their kids in a supermarket freak out. Oh my God! Oh my God! Oh my God! She's talking like she's getting interviewed for a job.
Now she may be medicated.
If she's medicated, then they're not supposed to be talking to her. It's the first thing you ask. Are you
I think
anything that's going to possibly affect your ability to tell the truth? And if you're on a medication, any type of mood-altering medication.
This isn't an interrogation. This is
it's
information for a missing child.
Exactly.
But wouldn't that be a good way around being interviewed if you wanted to avoid it? Then to say to a doctor, hey, I need some sedatives. This is just too much for me.
Exactly.
No, the medication came up because they weren't going to allow her back into her home, and she said, I have my medicine there. I need my medicine. So I don't know. I think there's a possibility she's medicated. I'm just throwing it out there. I don't know for sure. We have to address this really quickly here. Gringa, what's the next step for the defense to appeal this ruling? This is in the KarenRead case. Well, the next step is that you actually appeal it. So you file your notice of appeal of this ruling. And that's one of the reasons that the trial date was set for January. The judge knew what she was going to rule. Let's be honest. But she wanted to give time for the appellate process to take place. So that's why they did it in January. My guess is if it's not resolved by January, they may push it back into the spring again.
There's no way it'll be resolved by January. I mean,
I don't think so either. But
appellate division is going to be at least a year. I mean, by the time, because the way it's set, you've got 45, well, in Jersey, you got 45 days to file the appeal. Then they set up a scheduling order. Those can always be moved to give more time. Once the briefs get in, then they all go to the appellate division. They review them. Cases then set for oral argument and then a decision. I have never had a matter in the appellate division go less than a year, and that's on an expedited track.
And is that on a case that's still, but is this different because the case is still active, right? So this didn't go to a conviction that you're appealing a conviction.
But even with that, she's not sitting in a jail cell. It would be entirely different if she's sitting in a jail cell. Okay, yeah. She's not sitting in a jail cell. So, I mean, the expedited matters are generally for, a guy who's sitting there, in prison regarding this, obviously a very important issue, but she's home. She's home. She's eating at her own table. She's sleeping in her own bed. So the case is important, but it's not given that kind of a priority. At least it wouldn't be in Jersey.
How did she avoid? How did she avoid a jail cell? Did she make bail?
Yeah, bond. Yeah, she bonded out. Bonded out.
Like, was it like expensive?
Yeah, I'm sure it was, but I mean, the family has some money. They're not, most criminal defendants. The truth is, right, Al? And you can disagree if you want. I'll just mute your mic, but no, but you go into a courthouse, most criminal defendants don't have two nickels to rub together. Like the overwhelming majority of people that come through, most of them have drug problems, but I mean, I don't know what the percent is, but they just don't have money. There's the few that have money that can hire lawyers and post bond, but most of them don't. Right, Al?
That's correct. That's correct. Although
you got to agree with me.
In Jersey, we don't have bail in Jersey anymore. So you have to go in with regards to categories that you would fall into, and then whether or not you could be released pending trial.
Gotcha.
You're right. Most people go in. I was I'm still a public defender in municipal courts, in 3 municipal courts in New Jersey, and they can't afford a lawyer for a drunk driving charge, let alone a first-degree murder charge. It's you're talking in that numbers in the hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Yeah. Now, what would you pay? Melly welcoming in all the Grizzlies, our favorites in the house. Great to see the Grizzlies. Okay, so the other part of this that's really troubling, in addition to her tone, is I'm listening to her, and there isn't this. It's almost like, all right, we're going to sleep together. The little bit of the laugh, the little bit of like, this isn't the moment for that. And then prefacing everything she's saying by saying, I would say, like, I don't like, it seems like when you add those extra words, like it's filler. I'm sounding like one of my body language experts, but there's something about not just saying, okay, I would say I last saw her. No, just say it. Like, I don't understand.
That is a stalling tactic to think. I use that myself on the air a lot. I'll start to talk about, I'll sway from the conversation a little bit because I'm trying to gather my thoughts together about what I'm going to say next.
So let's take that one step further. So if you're trying to figure out what you're going to say, why does she have to figure out what she has to say?
Right. Okay. I'm not being interrogated. I'm not, and I'm mostly telling the truth, but I don't know where I want to bring the conversation yet. So I will stall a little bit, and I listen back to myself, and I've actually, I can notice it, and I'll be like, okay, Jones is trying to think about what he's saying next.
Yeah. But why would Jen Soto be doing that? These are simple questions. Yeah. When was the last time you saw your one and only child who is now missing? Like, that's an easy one. It's not, well, I would say 11 o'clock, and then I heard her in the morning. That hearing in the morning is a little problematic.
That's like a super simple answer, which is like the night before she went missing,
Yeah.
Like,
all right.
No thought required.
Sorry. Okay, so you needed some good sleep. So was it about 11 o'clock?
Yeah.
I would listen to a podcast by this guy.
He's also a pretty good interviewer.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, all of these guys are trained very well. And, if we go to when the state police come, her interviewing skills are also excellent. I mean, they're just very, very smart. They know what to look for. They know how to intone their voices. You see on television, the good cop, bad cop. Things are somewhat similar to what goes on in real life in this. But you've got a mother here, okay, and he's not only trying to get answers, he's also taking the temperature in the room to see how she's acting, to see what she's doing. And they're evaluating things. But apparently, that when the case moved over to the state, and this guy's not involved anymore. But I don't understand how there's not child endangerment charges on this woman. Not at all. Sorry.
I sent them upstairs, and I went to bed.
Okay. And that was about 11.
Yeah.
And do you guys normally all sleep together? Because I know you said that she sleeps in your room with you typically, right?
She sleeps with me typically. Typically when he comes into town, because he lives with his parents in Northport, Florida. Mm-hmm. When he comes to town, he'll sleep in the guest bedroom.
Okay. And Stefan is the one you're referring to, right?
Yeah, Stefan Stearns.
Stefan, how often does he stay here?
Oh, he moved away back in December, so I'm gonna say he's visited at least 2 to 3 times since then.
Okay. Why did he move away?
He was offered his dad had offered him a job, mm-hmm. but it fell through.
Oh.
So now we're trying to get him back here.
And he just visits?
Yeah.
When he visits, does he stay for like hours, days, weeks?
I would say days. This time we had planned on him staying a whole week because I was going through training at work. Mm-hmm. So I wanted him to be here to help me with the dog, help me with the training.
Okay, this is getting more and more strange, the nature of their relationship. So they're not boyfriend and girlfriend. He stays in the guest room and he's not there all the time. But when he's in town, you send your daughter up there. What?
It's ghastly. It really is ghastly.
But here's the thing, right? And I think this it always comes back to this for me, right? As a prosecutor, to prosecute her, okay? There's 2 things I'm taking into consideration. One is if you want to link her to any of the things that happened to Madeline, there has to be some physical evidence of that. It's got to match into your timeline. It's got to be some connection there, number one. But number 2, if you want to get her for endangering the child, things like that, there has to be some way to prove her knowledge of the danger. No buts about it. Now, let me just add one more piece to it, Al, for the analysis. And this, I think, is important based upon everything we're learning here. She is the one who can put Stefan with Madeline 11 o'clock at night, last one to see Madeline alive, right? Police can put Stefan with Madeline when she's, knocked out or no longer with us in the car. But that piece in the middle, right? You're trying to prove the ultimate crime here, right? So you're trying to prove, how did he commit the M? How did he commit the M? How did he have the opportunity to do it? Based upon the testimony of Jen Soto, who says at 11 o'clock, they went upstairs. I believe she's the only one, unless the roommate can testify to it, because that's another part of this. But she's the only one who can establish that timeline, establish that opportunity. So then the circumstantial case for the M becomes much stronger. Okay. He's the last one with her when she's alive. He is seen with her when she is no longer alive. Okay. There I can argue a strong circumstantial 2 + 2 = 4. He did it. He did it. If I don't have her, then I have Madeline's aunt dropping her off at home, and then there's all these people in this house, and we have no evidence of what's happening, and fingers can be pointed any which way. And don't forget the history of Central Florida. Don't forget the history of Central Florida. What happened with Kaylee Marie, who was put in the trunk of that car 12 people testified that it stunk like a dead body, and they sent her home. That's why I think you don't go after Jen unless you have overwhelming evidence connecting her to the M and to the SA. That's the only way. If you want to do this endangering and this inference, then you got to charge her. Then she takes the fifth. Then you got to give her a deal. Then it weakens her testimony at trial. That's the end of my take.
But Vinny, I'd take that chance as a prosecutor because I already got him on.
Did you see what happened with the Kaylee Marie
I've already
case?
got him on kiddie porn. I've already got him on that kind of stuff. I've already got him. Okay. It's not a question of whether or not it is going to be enough to get him on the murder. I've got him on a first degree porn charge. Okay.
M. Use the words, Al. You're going to kill us here. You're going to kill us.
I don't need to get him on M.
Hey,
okay?
don't say kill.
I have him on first degree on child porn. So I've already got him. So the bottom line is that he'll end up pleading to something anyway because he's red-handed grabbed on the porn aspect. So this situation, you've got a mother who put her into the mouth of a tiger. Okay, she basically just handed her child to a sex offender. All right, and you don't get her for child endangerment. Now, if the child picked up some drugs in the house, some of the prescription drugs, and took them, okay, Jen would be looking at child endangerment because she let them out and something like that. So if I put her in the bed of a sex offender, what's the difference?
Did she know? How do you prove she knew? She knew. How do you prove
she
knew?
You know what? I don't have to prove that. All I have to say, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, would you do this?
How do you get it past? How does it get it past the judge?
Would you put your child in the bed of your sometimes on, sometimes off boyfriend, okay, who's in town, blowing through town for a little bit because you need to sleep better? God, I can't believe anyone would do that. And I can't believe a jury would sit there and go, yeah, that makes sense.
Does it even get to the jury?
It would get to the jury. There's no, as a prosecutor, as a former prosecutor, I'm telling you right now, I would be running charges up her so fast that it would make her eyes spin. All right. But I would probably not be able to get her on the murder charge. I don't need that. I don't need the murder charge. I've got the child endangerment charges.
Okay. Jonesy, here's what he's forgetting. The D-pen. The D-pen. This is Florida. This is a state that recognizes the ultimate punishment for monsters. And that is what he is facing. Al is thrown in the towel on that. He's thrown in the towel on that.
Don't they have a isn't there a death penalty on child porn?
No.
I thought there was some sort of thing
for the essay, but it's not going to. Everyone's afraid of it. Everyone's afraid that it's not going to pass. Supreme Court.
I thought that there was a
there is for the essay of the minor. There is the D pen. This is great. There is the D pen in Florida. The problem is nobody believes that if it's challenged in appellate courts, including the Supreme Court of the United States, that it would survive. So that's why they're using the M to get the D pen instead of the essay for the D pen in this case, right, Jonesy?
Wait a minute. So if I'm not mistaken,
if you have the D pen on the M, why would you need the essay for the D pen anyway?
MOUSC. This is in Orlando.
What if we go H to the Izzo, E to the Izze?
All right, time for a break. McSpunky's here.
A-E-I-O-U, and sometimes Y.
Hey, Vinny, Al, Jonesy, lovely mod ladies, and the fellow chatters. McSpunky. Oh, did I bring it? No.
Hey, McSpunky.
I always forget
what it is.
I always forget my McSpunky glasses. I want to put the McSpunky glasses on my head. I couldn't do that today. Okay.
Props.
All right. What's that?
Props. You need to call the props
Can I ask
department.
another question? Now, they said that they have a guest bedroom. Why isn't a child sleeping in the guest bedroom as opposed to sleeping with the on again, off again sex
Well,
offender.
Supposedly, she liked to she liked to fall asleep being cuddled.
Yeah.
Oh,
That was it's
That
this
you know,
is
is-
just
that
getting
is-
worse and worse. How we are not charging this woman? I mean, dear God in heaven.
That is in the interview.
In Florida, of all places, they charge everybody. I mean, what? Stand your ground. Okay. I mean, this is the most ludicrous prosecution I've ever seen in my life. Get a pair of testicles that were taken off William Wallace and file the charges.
Jenny Lang, Vinny got the email. Nope, not a local. I'm a Catholic New Yorker in Kansas City, Missouri. They look at me like I'm Bigfoot. LOL. JK, everyone is nice. I shall email and thank you very much. Thank you, Jenny.
And I apologize. I did not see the note, and I do apologize on that. And my office is usually very good about that, and I do call everybody back. So I do apologize on that.
You could have called.
I'm in the phone booth. It's the one across the hall.
Oh! I know who Vinny's doing.
Who?
The kid who jumped or fell off the Verrazano Bridge in Saturday Night Fever. No,
That's right.
You got it. Can you dig it, Jonesy? I knew that you could. All right, more Jen Soto.
This time he was planning to stay for a week. How long has he been here? Or when did he arrive, rather, this time?
I can't remember if he arrived Saturday or Sunday morning.
Okay, that's fine. Sometime this weekend?
Yeah.
So that was last night around 11. And so about what time did you hear her on Monday morning?
I heard everyone getting ready around, I'm going to say 7:30, 8 o'clock.
And was it just Steph? Who else lives here?
I have roommates.
Okay.
I have Angelica Negro, who's one roommate, and then Natalie Rosiero.
Okay. And you just heard all of them, or did you hear anyone in specific?
No, I just heard, if anything, Stefan came and woke me up accidentally because he was trying to let the dog out.
Mm-hmm.
And the dog
Wait, who let the dog out?
gets really nervous
who let the
sometimes.
dog out?
I was trying to help him with that, get him on his leash. But he got him situated and took him for a walk.
Okay. Did you hear around 7 or 8?
I heard noises in the kitchen, but I'm not sure,
Not sure who it was exactly.
who it was exactly, yeah.
Gotcha.
It could have been any of the roommates.
But you didn't see her leave Monday morning. Were you still in bed or still in your room?
I was still asleep, yeah.
Gotcha. What time does she normally leave for school?
We usually leave around 8:50 at the latest.
Okay.
That's usually not a difficult question for a mother. What time does your child go to school every day? Every question is difficult for her. So it's one of two things. She's either, hiding, thinking too much, trying to figure what should I say here, or as Mrs. Melissa says, I think she's just a clueless idiot.
You know what? If she was showing some emotion, I could forgive her for not being able to answer some of these questions because her mind is racing that, her child is missing and there's something that terrible could have happened to her. And where is she? Never had has happened before. I mean, if she was frantic, I could absolutely understand where she's coming off on these things. You hit the nail on the head. How do you not know what time the kid leaves for school? How do you not know these things? I mean, this is rote. These aren't even questions that are that difficult. This is rote questions. You should have the answers to this stuff. What's our usual bedtime? What's this? What's that? Those are questions that, boom, I know the answers right down the line.
Yeah, and 8:50 makes sense because school starts, we believe, at 9:30. Why are they leaving at 7:30 in the morning?
Yeah, and then the McDonald's thing.
To go to McDonald's? Wait. What kind of food is McDonald's, Jonesy? What do they call it?
Fast food.
Fast food, correct.
Well, no,
You can leave at 8:30 and get McDonald's.
we call it
Have you
good
been to a
food
fast
served
food
quickly.
restaurant lately?
Good food served quickly. is how
Yeah.
we-
So, Jonesy, do you do McDonald's breakfast ever?
I haven't in a long time, but I do like it. Yeah.
Do you remember when it first happened and people's minds were blown that we were
Oh,
going to
yeah.
have breakfast
Yeah.
at a fast food? Because for years, we grew up, McDonald's was hamburgers and breakfast. I'm not going to eat a hamburger for breakfast. What is this you're talking about? And now it's probably their most popular meal at McDonald's. I don't know what the numbers are.
The hash browns are excellent. Now, Burger King, of course, started doing their breakfast. Their hash browns are the little tiny ones.
Right.
Do not compare to McDonald's hash browns.
Not a hash brown guy, I'll be honest with you.
If you have a sausage biscuit, you put the hash brown from McDonald's up top on that.
Oh, yummy.
Is that
Perfect.
legal? Is that legal?
Perfect meal with cheese.
13
Sausage
states.
biscuit with cheese. You take the hash brown, you put it right on top of it, and it is delicious.
Well, here's another one. You take your McDonald's burger or even your Burger King burger, and you put a few of the fries on it.
Yeah.
Okay, here's Blanca Brown. Don't make excuses for the disgusting so-called mother. Please bring us the news when they put the brackets on. Well, Blanca, we have to bring you all the news as it's happening, and no one's making excuses for her.
I think we're just trying to understand, right?
Yeah, what I'm doing is explaining the perspective of the prosecutor, because that's the way I see the world. And you know how do you prove a case beyond a reasonable doubt? And they are seeking the ultimate punishment for Stephen Stearns. So you've got to present a strong case. There's also a incredibly large history in Central Florida of criminal defendants raising reasonable doubt for these juries. I don't know how it happens, but it does. I've seen it. I've lived it firsthand down there on the ground at the courthouse. So I'm looking at this two ways. One, if we're just going to attempt to convict her for endangering the welfare of a child, now I've made her a criminal defendant. Now she will use her Fifth Amendment right and will not be a witness for me. Now I cannot establish my timeline that I need to establish to button up my M case against Stephen Stearns so I can put him on the row. That's what I'm saying. I'm not making excuses for her conduct. And if you've listened to all the times I've talked about this, I've been with it. I've been on it. What I was hoping for was that investigators were going to uncover a little more information that we didn't have that would be able to prove her knowledge and then link her to these serious cases. But what they are saying to my friend Shannon Butler, investigative reporter, WFTV down in Orlando, is they don't have any evidence that she committed a crime. So there's no plans to charge her with anything. And we have to report that news when it happens. We have to. That's our job.
What time should she have to be to school by?
9:28 is when school starts.
Gotcha. And so I think you had said the previous night, you and Stefan had agreed that he was going to get and take her in the morning? Okay.
And they were going to stop at McDonald's and get breakfast, but she changed her mind last minute and did not want McDonald's.
Okay. When'd you find that out?
When did I find that out? When Stefan called me around 10:18 in the morning, I had stepped out to go get blood work done, and he had just let me know that he just got back home from running a few errands, and that I asked, did you guys ever just stop at McDonald's? And he said no. She changed her mind. He tried convincing her a few times, but she did not want McDonald's anymore.
At what time did you leave the house yesterday?
Al, you're shaking your head.
First of all, what kid doesn't want McDonald's? I mean, that's like, if you're out, you're left early so that you could get McDonald's. You're not changing your mind. You say before you leave, I don't want McDonald's. Okay, I'd rather sleep a little later, or whatever the situation is. You don't change your mind if you leave the house that early. Okay, that, oh, we're at McDonald's. Oh, I don't want McDonald's anymore. It makes no sense whatsoever. And we didn't get up to the bait store yet, but that's another thing that just blows my mind. The bait store wasn't open. I don't know. You know, I mean, I've done a lot of fishing.
No, it's vape.
Oh, vape? I thought it said
Rosanna Dana. It's vape, not bait.
I apologize, ladies and gentlemen. I apologize. Because it sounds like bait to me the entire time. And I couldn't understand.
Must I hear about a bait shop not being open in the morning?
And that blew my mind, because, you know, generally when you go fishing, you leave at like 4 a.m, and the bait store is always open, and they're, you know, and they serve a good breakfast, most of them. So, but you got to watch out on what ship you're going on, because if you eat too much of egg and bacon and cheese and Taylor ham, okay, it makes Kodachrome in the water.
Which is what the circus the clownfish swim through, right?
Those are the whatchamacallit, the sea anemone.
What kind of bait do you use to catch clownfish, Al?
Sea anemone I use. You know, look, clownfish can go through sea anemone, and they do not get stung. Okay, whereas you and I, if we went through it, we would get stung. Those of you scoring at home, clownfish don't get stung. Okay.
What's all this fuss I hear about saving this country's natural racehorses? I think all horses should be saved, not just the race horses. That's resources, not racehorses. Oh, never mind. Oh man, that's going on the best of.
I apologize, but it sounds like bait store. I kept saying, I played it 14 times back. I was going, who goes to a bait store at 9 o'clock? It's not open. It made no sense to me.
I need a minnow. Give me my minnows.
Exactly. I need some earthworms. You know, I need some sandworms.
Jonesy, do you still go fishing?
I hardly ever went fishing in my life. I can count them on 2 hands.
Oh, wow. We got to go fishing. I used to fish down Long Beach Island, right into the bay. We would use the squid. We'd cut up the squid, and we catch fluke.
I enjoyed surf fishing, because surf fishing gave me an excuse to be on the beach, and I really enjoyed that. But I'm squeamish, and I don't like to catch fish. Because, you know, I mean, I'm squeamish about dehooking them and all that stuff. I've been on fishing boats. Unfortunately, the last time was in Martha's Vineyard, and I got terribly seasick.
Oh yeah,
and, they were not coming back to the dock.
Yeah, we're not going on a boat. We're definitely going to do some either off the shore, off the beach, or in the bay when we go fishing. That would be a good podcast. All right, let's get back to it.
Fishing. Gone fishing.
Gone fishing.
Good morning. Or what time did you step out, rather?
I'm gonna say around 9:30.
Had Stefan returned at all?
No.
So you were there from, just so I have my times kind of right, so you woke up around 7 or 8. You saw Stefan, because you helped him with the dog, because he was letting the dog out, right?
Yeah.
And then did you go back to sleep, or were you just kind of in the room?
I laid back down and went back to sleep.
Okay. And then, do you remember what time you woke up after that?
I believe I set my alarm for 9 a.m.
Gotcha. So, it would have been around 9 a.m. that you woke up. And in that time, you didn't see Stefan return at all? Okay. You left around 9:30, and then Stefan called you around 10 to say he got home?
Yeah.
Cool. Got it. Okay. Did he say anything else aside from she didn't want to go to McDonald's?
About her, no. About his morning, yes. He had tried going to the vape shop when it opened right after he dropped her off from school, and waited, but they never opened on time. So he came back, hung out a little bit. He came home around 10, and then went back out eventually to the vape store to go get some vape stuff.
So he left
It
after
sounds like
10.
bait.
What time
I
did you
don't,
get
you know,
back
I gotta tell
for the
you,
day?
What's that, Al?
it does
He's still
sound
raving
like
about bait.
I will tell you that I played that back a number of times, and I kept saying bait shop, bait shop. I apologize, I got that wrong, but I mean, it did sound like bait to me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I could see that. All right, let's get back to it.
Let me check something. I want to check what time my blood work appointment is at. I'll give you more of an accurate time.
Yeah.
Did she happen to bring her calendar with her? What is she doing right now?
Maybe she's checking her phone. I don't know.
Okay, so my appointment was at 10:15, and it took them 45 minutes to see me. So I didn't get home until 11:15, 11:30.
And was Stefan back at that point in time?
I'm gonna say yes.
Okay.
I can't remember.
And then what did the day look like after that? It's fine.
So I did my blood work, then I came back, and then I just waited. I waited for the rest of the day until 2:30 to leave. I wait in the car line, so I'm first in line to pick her up.
Yeah, that car line can be vicious. So you left approximately 2:30.
Yeah.
And pickups around 4, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Now when you got there at 4, then what happened?
I waited in the car line for about 10 minutes, and she never came out. So I thought maybe I missed her. I couldn't remember if I told her I was picking her up from school that day or if she had to walk to the office.
Okay.
So I went to the office to see if she made it. She never did. I drove around a little bit. He lives with his parents.
So I have a poll up in the community page. I'm going to take a look at it, and the question I asked, and folks, you can go to it. I haven't said much about it, but we got over 1,000 votes. Did Jen Soto know? And the three choices are yes, and she participated, yes, and she turned a blind eye, and then no. Which one do you think is the highest of those three, Jonesy?
Yes, and she turned a blind eye.
Al?
I assume participate means
Yeah.
yeah, okay.
You know what? I'm almost want to say no, but
Whoa.
only because I don't think she knew that this happened. But I do think she delivered the child to Satan, but I don't think she thought he would kill her. So
you're in the no. So taking a look here, 73% believe yes, and she turned a blind eye.
I think as to the sex aspect, yes. I think as to the abuse, yes. I don't necessarily think as to the murder,
As
but
the M.
I'm sorry, but the thing on this part of the story that we're now listening to that is blowing my mind, that she shows up there. Now she says she's the first car in line, okay, and that the kid is always the first one out,
Yes.
and she waits 10 minutes, and the kid, maybe the kid left early. I mean, like, what is she trying to say here? And she's saying, oh, well, maybe I forgot to tell her, and then she took off. She's the first kid out. You're the first car. You're there on time. The school doesn't let kids out earlier than 4. If the time to leave is 4 o'clock, they have a guard there that says, or an aide that says, you're not going outside till it's 4 o'clock.
What if you have to go to catechism class? When I was in elementary school, a bunch of kids would get to leave early, like a half hour early, and go to catechism, and I was always so jealous.
Okay. Did we hear at one point in this situation that there was a catechism class situation that was coming up here? No.
Oh, there could have been.
So that's true.
Well, we started calling it CCD. It was originally catechism, and then we started calling it CCD.
I was beaten badly by the nuns.
All right, let me ask you this, Al. Question: What possible defense does Stearns have? Does he have any? I don't think he does.
I don't think he has any defense at all. That's that's why I don't think we need her. And I would be
well for the M. I think he'll point the finger at somebody else in the house.
You know what? I really don't think. Look, as soon as the jury hears kid didn't want to go to McDonald's but left early because they were going to McDonald's, I think they're going to go, oh yeah, that makes perfect sense. Especially 13.
Well, you can't really. I mean, like, I agree with you, right? But you can't really convict somebody based on like our perception that no child would ever turn down McDonald's.
Well, I'd bring an expert on. I'd bring my kids, and they would tell, look, any chance to go to McDonald's, we're there, okay? Especially at 13. They don't realize how bad it is.
Yeah. All right, let's listen more.
In Northport, Florida. When he comes to town, he'll sleep in the guest bedroom.
Oh, wrong. There we go.
And she never came out. So I thought maybe I missed her. I couldn't remember if I told her I was picking her up from school that day or if she had to walk to the office.
Okay.
So I went to the office to see if she made it. She never did. I drove around a little bit.
Okay.
I drove around a little bit, looking for her. I went back to the school. The school was closed at this point. I wanted to speak to somebody at the office to see if anybody could tell me if she had been there. I think at this point I had called, before I went to the school, I actually called her best friend and I said, hey, with you, I can't find her. She didn't walk to the office and she wasn't at school when I went to pick her up. She said she never made it. She's.
Well, here's the thing, right? All the thing that she's doing, right? She never made it to school. This might be something I just thought of it. So, did you see the light bulb? Did you see the light bulb?
I did.
Yeah.
So, the moment that she finds out that she was never at school, what is the first thing she should do? The first call she should make?
To Stefan.
To the man who dropped her off.
Exactly.
To find out where exactly did you drop her off?
But wait, can I ask this question?
She doesn't do that. She doesn't do that. She does not do that. That's huge.
I know when my kids are not in school, the school calls the house.
We found out they just changed the policy. They were calling at the end of the day at the school. Why? I don't know. They were call at the end of the day, not in the beginning. They've changed the policy that they're going to call parents now in the middle. Like that policy made no sense. Why are you telling me afterwards that my child wasn't in school?
Exactly.
Exactly. So, because we get them. Well, we used to get them during the day. We would get a phone call. We'd get a cell phone call. We'd get a text message, like all at once. It was automated. If they were marked absent, they had a program that would just call you up and let you know that your child was not in school today.
The world sure has changed since I was a kid, man. None of that happened when we were young.
Yeah, Jonesy used to come to school with a note. Please excuse Jonesy, signed Jonesy's mother.
Yeah, Epstein's mother's doctor.
Now, you're joking about that, but the truth of the matter is I was absent almost half of the year during my first several years of elementary school. Long story, but I would beg my mom not to make me go, and she was a single mother, and she would weaken, and I would come with a note. I constantly had notes that were actually written by my mother, so I am on Epstein.
So, were you homeschooled, or did you miss out on some stuff?
I just missed it. I just stayed home and watched I Love Lucy and game shows.
Okay.
So that one-room schoolhouse that you went to on the prairie, they would buy the notes, and you wouldn't have to have any problems. I mean, nowadays,
well, I mean, back then, if you had a note from your mother, I don't think they really thought to question it. They knew what was up with the family, and at one point, they did meet with us to say, like, hey, what gives? Why does the kid hate school so much?
there was a great.
Was there a bully named Buddy Hinton?
No, there was one named Richie Kwasinski, and he was a part of the
Baby
reason.
talk.
Punched me in the
Baby
nose.
talk, baby talk. It's a wonder you can walk. But the Little Rascals had the best notes that would come in. Stymie has to leave school today. Mom shot Pop.
What about the one about where they had to grease Weezer?
That's right, Grease Weezer.
All right, let's get to some of the great comments that we're getting here. Really amazing stuff. Adam drives Helen. Helen is the truck. Giving Al a hard time, but he's spot on about JS needing to be charged in this case. How about that? All right, 1 point for Al. Pretzels and cornbread. This woman is in love with the man who tortured her daughter. Let that sink in.
Yep.
Powerful.
But isn't that often the MO in case not a motive, but isn't that often the case in these situations that the spouse covers for the husband, the boyfriend, whatever, because they're tied so strongly to him?
Yeah, sometimes. But what we've learned now is that this relationship wasn't so strong.
Right.
Like he's coming over, he stays in the guest room. By the way, what was in that guest room? Eek. I mean, sex toys, tripods, the whole
Really?
Yes.
Yeah.
Sex toys?
Yes.
And she said she knew that, and she sent him.
I don't know. I don't know if she knew. You got to prove that she knew. That's the problem. There has
It's her guest room.
I know.
Wow.
Yeah, that's bad, right? Pretty bad?
Yeah.
Very bad.
Yeah, and that's
Eddie Spaghetti's from Jersey.
Eddie Spaghetti. Do you know Eddie? Everyone knows Eddie Spaghetti.
Eddie Spaghetti was in League of Their Own.
Hey, you're not
That was the nickname of the outfielder in the League of Their Own.
Al. Everyone seems to be referring to you as Big Al. Was that ever your official nickname at any point?
Yes, that was. That was the nickname on the football team, actually.
Now, I find that interesting because, Al, you have a big presence. You're not heavy or anything like that, but you're broad-shouldered and such. But I find that when people say to me, like, especially like strangers in the street or something like that, when they're trying to like hit me up for a buck, people will also say, "Hey, big guy," and I am fat, so like I immediately think like, you're asking me to give you money in the street because you're a beggar. And you're leading off with, "Hey, big guy."
Would it be better if they go, "Hello, Governor"? Hints for you, Governor.
Oh, let me see. Here we go. Just trying to get to some of the comments, folks, before we run out of time, because we are running out of time. All right. So let's see. This is from X. We got folks watching on X as well. We are on live streaming on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and X. sarcasm for fun. You don't know when your loser boyfriend came to your house at your request? Exactly.
Yeah, that was a little odd. Saturday or Sunday, she hedged a little bit on it. But when she talks about her day, what happened to that new job that she needed to get some rest for?
I was going to bring that up. That the new job was the reason why she needed to have her sleep, but she had a blood work done. She had a blood test.
Yeah.
So what was she like? She had to get rest for the blood test because if you don't, you get tired blood. I mean, I just had a blood test, and I know Vinny, you just had one too. We discussed that. We discussed. And look right here. Okay. And I didn't need to get extra sleep for the blood test. I didn't even study for the blood test. So
you got to study for your blood test.
I did not. I went in cold.
Well, I will say this. Apparently, at least on the day of her daughter's birthday party, she was working at night. So maybe she had the night shift.
Well, yeah, but she's picking up the kid. She's picking up the kid around 4. I mean, how late is her night shift?
Well, I don't think she was working the next day because the birthday party was at 3 and she got home at around 11, which would be about a normal shift.
Okay, so
I don't know if she was working that day. Yeah, it doesn't make sense. You're right.
Rest for this new job. You're not working. You're awake with the dog, but you don't say goodbye to the kid. I mean, isn't that like weird. I'm not a parent, but if you're awake, I mean, isn't it natural just to say before I go back to bed, I'm just going to say have a great day and all that
learn something, which I used to say all the time.
All of this stuff is fantastic. But these are the trimmings for the prosecutor. These are the trimmings. We don't have the beef. Where's the beef?
So let's make gravy.
Beef. I've got the trimmings. I got the sides. I got my mac and cheese. I got my corn. I got some slaw.
You got enough
mayonnaise, not the vinegar slaw, the mayonnaise slaw. I got it all.
No potatoes.
You got enough for child endangerment.
The
guest room House of Horrors is enough that she knew something or should have known. It's not even known. It's known or should have known.
You charge her with child endangerment. Do you not now weaken your case against Stephen Stearns?
Right. So she's going to first of all, a child endangerment charge. There's a good chance she's not going to prison. Okay. Because it's probably a 3rd degree. All right. Which if she has no priors, then she's not looking at it. It's actually the presumption's against incarceration. She's not going to want to put away the guy that killed her daughter. I mean, come on. Let's be fair. Let's be reasonable.
It's not about not wanting to do it. It's about the level of her credibility.
Her credibility is horrendous right now. There is no way any defense attorney that's working for Stefan is going to be having
But it'll be even worse, Al. It'll be
not really. I don't know how much worse it could possibly be. I don't know how much worse she could possibly be. I don't think any juror is going to believe her at all unless she took some responsibility. And if she takes the responsibility, and it's a question of what her sentencing is going to be, they may then say, you know what? I can believe her now.
Every 26 seconds, I'll save Florida some money if they can send Jen up to New York. Every 26, taking care of business. Thank you. All right, we've got JPL, Jay the Stelladoro. Paisano, you rock. Stelladors. Those are the
cookies.
Those little cookies. They're from the Bronx, I think, right? Wasn't Stellador from the Bronx?
There's a good chance. I'm not sure. I do not know that.
Yeah, I don't know if they've been. Are they still making those?
Oh yes, Stellador is still a big guy.
Were they scooped up by Nabisco or something?
Actually, Nabisco.
All I can think of is Stellador breadsticks.
Yeah, Stellador.
Yeah, Stellador has breadsticks. They also had those. They used to have those coffee cookies you could dunk in your
coffee. You dump it in your espresso.
In the cappuccino, you put it in there, a little bada boom, bada bing. You get it in
there. You get a little taste.
I'm trying to think of the name. Is it Regions biscuits? The stuff you would get at Italian bakers, they would have a little sesame on them.
No. Oh yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
There's a place on,
But
there's
those
a place on
cookies,
11th
like,
Street in Manhattan where Sinatra used to have his biscuits sent from.
I know what you're saying. I was never a fan, but I know exactly what you're saying.
No,
because my
no, was
father
they're
used
kind
to-
of bland.
They were kind of bland, but people loved them. Sean James, you will laugh now, but will have tears when you hear it all.
Well, we're not laughing. I mean, we're laughing at other things.
Yeah. We're obviously laughing at.
I mean, obviously,
Can-
everyone sees my.
Were you
my-
laughing? Do I amuse you, Jonesy? Do I amuse you?
Yes, as a
Do I
matter of fact,
amuse-
you do.
What am I, funny? Like, haha, funny? Do I amuse? What the F do you saying I amuse you?
That was ad libbed. That scene wasn't
Was
that
it?
ad libbed? It was
Yeah,
either ad
ad-libbed.
libbed or it was added by Pesci. I think it was relative to like something that happened to him in real life or something that he witnessed or something.
Great
I
scene
saw-
and great reaction from Ray Liotta. Ray
Ray
Liotta
Liotta.
was just fantastic.
Love Ray Liotta. He's missed.
Yeah, young
He's
man,
missed.
young.
He went too young. He partied hard though.
I think so.
Yeah. I just want to make sure that we get all. I'm trying to get scroll so we are current with the comments. So I'm scrolling through with a lot of comments today, boys. A lot of comments. That's all I'm saying.
Henry.
And there you go, Gen X agreeing with Jonesy, of course. Exactly.
What did I say?
And what? The cookies?
I don't know. That's why I'm trying to get current. Right now I am still 10 minutes behind. So something you said about 10 minutes ago.
Okay, thank
I
you.
think I was talking about the fact he had missed 97% of his school year with a note from his
It's
mother.
true, man. It really is true.
Welcome back, Carter. Signed Epstein's mother.
Yep,
Exactly.
yep. Freddie Boom Boom Washington.
Sean James, very disappointing, Vinny. They don't give a bleep about Maddie, just stickers, I guess. Okay. Yeah,
What?
that's all we care about, Sean. Sean, must be your first time. We will we'll give you a pass today.
Just
Lisa
Oh,
Whitnauer, I want to know more about the email between SS and his mother. So this is the only thing that we've read or heard that directly connects Jen to all of this, which was an email from Stephen Stern's mother to Stearns while he's in jail. So I believe they know that it's going to be read by people, but she implores SS to not cover up for someone like he did in the past, to not take the fall for someone else, and says she's in this, she's just as responsible or something like that. So the only one who is directly implicated, Soto, even though it's not evidence, but the mother should be interviewed by investigators to find out what she knows, because in this email she seems to know something about everything that happened here and could directly implicate Jen Soto. Do you take it with a huge grain of salt, or do you think it's worth investigating?
I what mother's not defending their kid? And so, I mean, under those circumstances, I take it with a grain of salt. And you know what? I mean, she obviously didn't know what her kid was up to, because what mother would be able to in any way accept that with the kiddie stuff and all the other crap? You cannot accept that. So, I mean, he's probably saying, well, it wasn't me, the devil made me do it. And so, she's taking that as scripture.
what is he? Flip Wilson?
That's exactly right. I find it appalling. It is not something, what a great way to kind of throw a little monkey wrench into the proceedings, to try to throw some eyes off of you onto somebody else. Doesn't make any sense. But that doesn't mean she shouldn't be charged. She should be. Child endangerment, absolutely.
Okay, Sharon Freestew. I'm thinking that law enforcement suspects that she knows more and will try to make a deal with her to tell on him. I think she knows all. Well, here's the thing, and I'm looking at this again as a prosecutor. You put someone up there who you've made a deal with, there's an automatic strike against your credibility, right? And it's very obvious in front of the jury. Oh, yeah, you're agreeing because you get some benefit for saying what you're saying. Whereas if she's never charged with anything, there is no need for a deal. You don't have to make a deal with someone who's not charged.
Okay.
Right. So there won't be that moment when she's on the stand saying, oh, yes, I've agreed to testify. In exchange, I get X, Y, and Z, which becomes the first argument against her credibility by the defense, that you know why she's doing it. Plus, it makes her look like she's involved with more, because if she agreed that she did X, she probably did X and Y and maybe even Z.
And so they're not going to let the other guy off the hook. It ain't happening, Vinny. They got an open and shut case on this guy, and it is.
Please knock on wood somewhere,
please,
because I've been there before. I've been there before with a mother who did nothing but lie about everything, who did nothing when her child was missing for 30 days, whose trunk smelled of a dead body.
Hey, I know that, and I understand that, and she got away with it. Do you want this one to get away with it too?
Do you want what?
Do you want this mother to get away with it too? She is to blame. She is responsible. She threw the kid into the water where the sharks were. Okay.
I know.
You know what? Then you gotta pay. You gotta pay. And there's no, look, there is no way that any jury is going to find this woman credible. And at least if she's been charged, and at least if she's pled guilty to something, they're going to be able to say, you know what, she took responsibility, and believe it there. I don't see a jury.
Can they come after her after they're done with him? Or is that just not cool? Because
statute of limitations, they've got all that time. They can do it.
Right. But is that just not something they do?
But the problem is that, if you lead her down that path and you're not giving her Miranda rights, then all of those things, all of her admissions or anything else may not be able to be brought into the case.
Yeah.
So all of that will get thrown out because she was being interrogated, but not being Mirandized. And we don't hear at any point where she was Mirandized during this conversation, where it wasn't an interrogation, but they were trying to get information from her. And if there was anything in there that she incriminated herself, there's a good chance that statement would have been struck.
So it wasn't an interrogation. It was being questioned about the situation. But weren't they, in fact, wasn't it interrogatory, if that's a word? I mean, they're also fishing. They're
fishing, but they're trying to get information so they can find.
Where's the line? Where's the line when I'm questioning you about trying to figure out this situation? And I think maybe you're involved. Where is the line that a detective?
It's as soon as you think that you're involved. That's the line. That's when they stop and they say, listen, right now, I'm going to give you your rights. I'm going to read you your rights. And, then you go through it. Your right to remain silent. You give up that right. Anything you say can and will be used against you in a court of law. You have a right to attorney. If you can't afford one will be appointed to you. Okay, so free of charge. So at that point, as soon as you as a police officer have an inkling that there's something that's not kosher here, you stop and you Mirandize. You stop and Mirandize.
But surely he must have had some sort of inkling. We have an inkling when we watch it. Like in his heart of hearts.
Shirley, and stop calling me Shirley.
That was the point.
Thank you. I know. Where is MadelineSoto's father? Well, he's married. He lives in another state. He was in the military. He's bouncing around a little bit. He has, I think his wife has given some statements during the course of this, but he's brokenhearted. But he was living in another state, had a relationship with Maddie, just did not have physical custody of her because I believe I think he's living in Texas is where he is. We've got Color Street Babe. Do you think they're waiting to charge her after they get a conviction for Stefan? By the way, you three are the best. Thank you, Color Street Babe. Well, there's no statute of limitations on M. So they could. Some of the other charges that we're talking about, the statute of limitations gets a little funky with endangering and lesser charges like that. I'd have to check the books there. So that would be a little difficult. But with M, you can charge at any point.
You got to imagine it's at least 5 years.
You're probably 5 on the endangerment, I would think.
It could be even as many as 7.
I always thought the standard was 7 for everything.
Not necessarily, because DP charges are a year. Disorderly persons charges are a year.
Yep.
So I mean, 5 to 7 is like the range, but there are, especially with anything to do with minors, the statute of limitations starts when they turn 18. So you've got to 18 plus another 5 or 7.
Right.
There was an excellent feature on the CBS morning show this past Sunday about coal miners.
Yeah. Lisa, I'm not biting on that one. Lisa Whitenauer, also want to know if they interviewed Jen's family. Yes. And the roommates. Yes. And what they said. We'll have to do that in another program. You can also go to Grizzly True Crime on YouTube. I believe has those interviews posted because I think she did it last night. So you can check that out as well. Where we go. Stelladoras. We're still in this. If someone said Sebastian Maniscalco talked about the Stelladoras.
That makes sense.
In his routine. He absolutely did. All right. I believe we're all current here. Before we run out of time here, because we got to go, I do have a cutoff time. So I get ready for my show tonight, 8 o'clock on Court TV, Closing Arguments. Then at 9 o'clock, Vinny Politan Investigates. So 8 to 9, 9 to 10, 2 hours of live, unscripted true crime on Court TV. Al, where can folks find you?
You can see me on X, Legal Weapon 3, okay, at Legal Weapon 3, and Monday night on Vinny's show, okay, Closing Arguments, 8 to 9.
Fantastic. Jonesy, the radio legend, where can folks find you?
Well, on Monday night at 8 p.m., I'll be on my couch watching Vinny and Al, and otherwise, I'm on the radio, up and down the dial. Check out the full schedule at glennjones.net.
Can I just say this, Jonesy? You should live stream yourself watching us.
I don't think I could get the following that you have. It would.
That would be amazing.
Yeah,
Jonesy watching us.
I have a loyal following, but I don't think they would. I don't think I would get the numbers that would make it worthwhile for us.
I don't know. All right. We're gonna have to talk about it.
I'd love to do that. Especially, I could talk back at the TV and stuff.
It would be pretty amazing. It would be pretty amazing. I think
the other day one of your commentators was talking, and I started going beep 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 beep.
What happened to Al? Al disappeared. All right. Say goodbye, Jonesy.
Goodbye, Jonesy.
Vinny and the Tangents, True Crime Podcast. Vinny has the blue eyes, Al cracks the jokes. Jonesy stays behind his shades, entertaining all the folks. It's Vinny and the Tangents, True Crime Podcast. Load up all your comments, hit those super chats. Let's go smash that like button, so we can all have a blast. Vinny, Al, and Jonesy on the job. They're the Sugar Hill Gang of true crime. They're telling stories of days gone by. They take crime and turn into a good old time. It's Vinny and the Tangents, True Crime Podcast. It's Vinny, it's the Tangents, True Crime Podcast. It's Vinny. Tangent. It's the True Crime Podcast. It's the True Crime Podcast.